What's going on, guys? Geek Hustlers coming back at y'all today with another video, and this time we're going to be talking about Jujutsu Kaisen episode 19. So, the main focus of this episode was Yuji's new Black Flash ability that Todo had taught him off screen when he was developing his fighting abilities and kind of sharpening up his fighting style and setting him on the right track when it comes to actually using his cursed abilities wisely and more strategically instead of haphazardly. So, moving on from that and going straight into it, we go back to what Fushiguro and his group is doing, and he is with, I believe that dude from last week's episode was Noritoshi. He played a pretty big part in last week's episode as we saw his backstory. And Inumaki, the boy who speaks in Japanese food ingredients tongues. And now I'm not going to be calling him that because I finally memorized his name. You may have noticed that I kind of struggle with Jujutsu Kaisen character names. And to be honest, certain characters are just kind of generic to me, except for Inumaki. I do like Inumaki. I genuinely wanted to learn his name. But Noritoshi, he's not too interesting to me, honestly, compared to Megumi, Fushiguro, and Yoshinobu, not Yoshinobis. I kept calling him that last week. The old man with the guitar who reminds me of Master Roshi and Old Man Yama from Dragon Ball and Bleach. Yeah, his name is Yoshinobu. That was my mistake right there. I kept calling him Yoshinobis. So moving on from that, who cares? But yeah, the main reason why I do that, it kind of goes back to what I was saying before. Certain characters are kind of generic when it comes to them standing out in my memory. Yeah, they don't really stand out in my memory as well as certain other characters in this show. So that's why I do that sometimes. So moving on from that and going straight into it, as I was saying with Fushigoro's group, they're going in against the Mother Nature curse. And yeah, it turns out the Mother Nature curse actually is a man. I thought that this curse was female because of the voice, but no, it actually was a man. So I had nothing to apologize for. So moving on to this part of the episode, we noticed that Fushiguro and Inumaki, along with Noritoshi, they're kind of well, that was his game. That was his name, right? yeah, Noritoshi. I'm kind of looking at my notes here. So going back into it, yeah, Noritoshi, Inumaki, and Megumi, they're kind of going in against some Mother Nature curse, fighting against him and sort of using their strongest abilities, kind of overusing their abilities. And I believe it was either Inumaki or Noritoshi who threw up blood due to overuse of their curse abilities. And we kind of find out about overuse of cursed abilities. I don't remember anything like that being mentioned in the series before. Yeah, this seems to be something new for us to know. So moving on from that, and Maki eventually shows up. My girl Maki, that's what I'm talking about. She comes into the fray, and then afterwards, around this time, she goes ahead and kind of throws hands with the Mother Nature curse, and eventually sends him flying across the woods, far out off of the roof that Megumi's group was fighting the Mother Nature curse on. So we move on from that, and we kind of get this explanation about cursed weapons and them kind of being categorized in a similar manner to how cursed abilities themselves are categorized when it comes to the various different levels. I thought that was pretty cool to know. That definitely some progression when it comes to the overall world building and how these Jujutsu sorcerers work in terms of using their weapons, and also when it comes to overusing their abilities. So going back to it, I like this scene a lot. Maki and Fushiguro going in, and I saw a little bit of this in the preview and I got very excited. Of course, they were kind of jobbers for this part until Yuji and Todo showed up, which is where the true meat of the episode lies, but we'll get to it when we get to it. The two of them are kind of fighting, and Fushiguro is using kind of this split up staff weapon. I don't remember the name for that weapon, but I like this. Maki is kind of switching weapons with Fushiguro. She uses his black blade that he kind of pulled out in last week's episode. She's using that, and Fushiguro is using the staff, the splitting up staff that Maki was using, and I thought that was very, very cool. I like the part when Fushiguro retracted the weapon back to a normal staff, and he was like sliding across the water after attacking the Mother Nature curse. I love little subtle movements like that. That was very cool. I like that part indeed. So moving on from that, yeah, we go over to them definitely having trouble with the Mother Nature curse. I believe at one point they got hit by these flowers from the Mother Nature curse that messed with their curse energy, and if they use their curse energy, they'll injure themselves extremely badly. So after that, that's when Yuji and Toto show up, coming down from the sky, and of course, this was to be expected. They show up and get ready to fight the Mother Nature curse. I haven't memorized this thing's name, so I'm just gonna keep calling him the Mother Nature curse. So moving on from that. So afterwards, Yuji and Toto get ready to go in, and Toto says, "You know, man, I'm not helping you properly until you use a black flash. And if you die in this fight, well, so be it. You're just gonna die." So that kind of leads you to wonder, okay, but what's the black flash? It kind of sounds like a move that they may have been practicing in the back during this exchange event. So Yuji, of course, he says, "Okay, got it." And he gets ready to fight the Mother Nature curse. And Megumi, he's like, "Okay, wait a minute, dude. This is too much for you. You can't do it. Don't even try it." Of course, Yuji, he pretty much pleads to Megumi and says, "Bro, just let me handle it." And then the panda dude shows up and takes Megumi and Maki out of that area, away and over to safety. So not anything really too interesting there, pretty basic. And we expected that to happen. That was perfectly fine. Now it's time for us to get into the real meat of this episode. So just going straight into it. Going back to Black Flash, Toto refused to help Yuji until he had used this new technique properly. And that was when Toto promised to help Yuji. And so we're going straight into it. And Yuji, he asked the Mother Nature curse. He said, "Hey man, are you in association with a curse with a patched up face?" So of course, obviously referring to Mahito, and we know what he did to Junpei. Yeah. Then the Mother Nature curse goes ahead and says, "And what if I am?" So Yuji, he gets angry. I noticed. As I mentioned in my review, this is a reoccurring thing with Yuji. He flies off of the handle a lot and kind of gets out of control and sporadic when it comes to his anger and temper. So he goes ahead and attacks, the Mother Nature curse with unrelenting force and tries to use Black Flash right there, I believe, but it doesn't actually work. So anger is the way. Toto comes up to him, smacks him across the face, and says, "Hey man, what you doing? You can't use anger." And no point in even flaring up your thoughts like that. It's going to get in the way of your cursed energy flow. You can't do that. So he smacks him again. Then afterwards, Yuji, he's kind of stunned a little bit. And then Toto says, are those ridiculous thoughts out of your head now? You good? And then Yuji says, "Yeah, man, I'm good." And then, and then he goes right back into it. I like the relationship between Yuji and Toto. I really do. It's cool, man. It's bromance. You can say whatever you want about that, but I do like how tight they are right now, man. And it kind of makes you wonder how they would have been if they kind of grew up as childhood friends, man. I wonder how tight they would have been when it came to their choreography together when it comes to fighting. But since the two of them are hand-to-hand combat users when it comes to being Jujutsu sorcerers, yeah, they kind of hit off when it comes to their synergy with each other, which I definitely appreciate. So, as somebody passionate like Toto, he's concerned. He genuinely wants Yuji to be able to utilize his potential because he sees a beautiful amount of potential in his fighting style, of course, when it comes to his movement, and he doesn't want him to misuse his potential. We already know how much of a passionate guy Toto is. After this episode, I can definitely say he's one of my favorite characters. He's kind of like this older brother figure for Yuji, which I do like that. So moving on from that, Toto, he goes back to observing, and then Yuji goes in and decides to concentrate, and the man is concentrating so hard to the point to where he's drooling, and I don't think I've ever seen anything like that before in a shonen anime when it comes to a character concentrating. And the Mother Nature curse is like kind of sitting back and wondering, okay, what is he doing? And then Yuji, he gets ready to pull off Black Flash, and I've noticed that Black Flash kind of looks like the Getsuga Tensho when it comes to Ichigo's energy a little bit, but this is completely different. That's pretty much how Yuji's new cursed energy utilized fully looks like when he's using it properly. So, and I'm gonna go into that in a minute because Toto said something very interesting that I definitely would like to address. Yuji, he pulls off Black Flash, easily highlight of the episode. Everybody's talking about it. It definitely threw me off because the animation did this kind of sketchy white screen flare effect that I thought was beautifully executed when it came to the animation and how it flowed with Yuji's movements. So we feel the real impact from it, unlike his flimsy hit where his anger got in the way during his other punch attack earlier in the fight before Toto had set him straight. Yeah, Yuji goes ahead and successfully pulls off Black Flash, and Toto's like, okay, let me come in. All right, he got it. Let's go. So Toto, he gets ready. He's going in, and the Mother Nature curse is wondering what the heck was that? Whoa, wait a minute, he might be a little dangerous. Let me stop. So because the whole time, the Mother Nature curse was kind of getting a little cocky, not really taking Yuji too seriously. I mean, he was analyzing Toto, kind of wondering what kind of man Toto was, and kind of underestimating Toto because he has more cursed energy than Toto, as he pointed out. So then afterwards, the episode gets really good right here. An incredible animation sequence right here was when the Mother Nature curse goes ahead and starts using his abilities to where he's throwing these branches and trees at Toto and Yuji, and it's pretty much stretching, just branches and trees everywhere, just stretching all over the place, and Yuji and Toto are kind of running on them, kind of traversing through them. I really like the part where Toto was kind of free flowing through the branches just fine and kind of knocking the branches out of his way, and Yuji was kind of like tripping, losing his balance, kind of trying to keep his focus on the branches as he was traversing around them as well. I really like that difference between the two of them and how they were moving. They don't just unrealistically move. I like how Studio Map is able to make their characters look kind of realistic when it comes to their movements. It reminds me of how Studio Period did with the Naruto animation back in the day, whenever they would really use a lot of their budget. But anyway, moving on from that, then we go ahead and see Toto and Yuji continue to fight the Mother Nature curse. Not too much to say about that part because the Mother Nature curse immediately goes ahead and has the branches disappear. And then we see Toto and Yuji, they're in the air, and they do this really cool tag team thing to where they jump off of each other's feet and avoid the branch attack that the Mother Nature curse tried to launch at the two of them, and they avoid it successfully. I thought that was really cool, and it just goes to show, after all of the training with each other during the exchange event, they definitely do have some pretty good synergy when it comes to fighting together. I do like that. So then the Mother Nature curse, we see this moment that he had with Mahito, and Mahito is kind of like questioning if the Mother Nature curse really has any feelings and whatnot, and if he really, how honest are you being? I mean, I think he said something like, you should be more honest. And then the Mother Nature curse kind of says, I'm not faking anything. What do you mean? And Mahito, he's talking about natural human desires and instincts and whatnot. And he goes ahead and says, it's kind of tripping on my words here. He goes ahead and says, just because we have reason and intelligence now doesn't mean we should outright ignore our instincts. And you could kind of take a step back and say, well, maybe the Mother Nature curse, because he has reason, he's kind of ignoring his instincts, and his instinct seems to be he enjoys fighting and he enjoys the thrill of battle, kind of similar to Mahito. So yeah, then the episode kind of ends off with the Mother Nature curse kind of saying, I'm really starting to enjoy this fight. I love this fight more than I thought, more than I realized. And yeah, man, Yuji and Toto, they brush themselves off and get ready to finish the fight. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the episode. So one thing that I want to point out before I wrap things up here with y'all, I think Yuji is a similar type to Maki, because as we know, before he got his abilities, after eating the Sukuna finger. He was very athletic. He was abnormally athletic, and he was able to fight the curse by himself just fine. We also saw him jump all the way up to the school window, and I think what that was, he might be, he might have been blessed with that same unnatural human super strength that Maki was born with. And I think that's the type of person Yuji was born as when it came to him coming into the world. And he was born with enhanced human abilities. And I believe that's what the mangaka's doing. I don't think it's anything else because that's what we saw. And that should be the reason why he's so gifted when it comes to his natural athletic abilities. And not only that, it makes perfect sense why his potential, he's kind of progressing already right now. I mean, he already kind of knew how to fight. He already was born with the enhanced human abilities already. So it really just wouldn't make much sense if Yuji was this kind of like Naruto-esque character to where he didn't have any talents at all, or he was like this Izuku-esque character to where he was born without any, abilities at all. No, that's clearly not the case with Yuji. He has some kind of talent that he hasn't fully tapped into just yet. A little similar to Ichigo and Yusuke, because as we know, Yusuke started out as this very battle-heavy character in the beginning, and Ichigo, he also knew how to fight as well. And he already had spiritual energy lying dormant inside of him. He just didn't know how to bring it out. And like I said before, Jujutsu Kaisen does share inspirations from Bleach and Yu Yu Hakusho. So that's pretty much it. That's all I have to say about this episode. I would definitely have to give this episode a pretty high score. I would have to give it about a 9.5 out of 10. I can't give it a 10 out of 10 because it was too short and I wanted more. So, but yeah. That's all joking aside. The episode definitely deserves a very high score. There wasn't really anything I disliked in this episode. So that's all I got for y'all today on Geek Hustlers. And I'll see y'all next time. Catch y'all boys later on in the next video, since I have many more videos. I upload 2 videos each and every day if I feel like it. You know how we do on this channel. And I'll see y'all next time. Peace.